Welcome. My name is Marcel Macedon Cruz, and this is the Macedon Podcast. And this is a really important message to most of the people of the world, and especially for the people in the United States. I'm doing this one in English because the government of Puerto Rico is lying about the facts that are coming out of Hurricane Maria. Although most of Puerto Ricans, we are fine. To all of our families, I want to tell you that most of us are fine. We're just struggling with the day-to-day struggles that are bringing upon us, like 6 hours to get the gasoline. We're talking about 3 hours to buy a little bit of food. That's how we're living right now. The conditions are really bad in that way, but most of us, we're fine. So if you're trying to reach your loved ones, at least you have, and I know this is really hard, but you have to have patience for around a week or two until some or most of the telecommunication services are brought back. So you have to be really patient. There's about 2 weeks. It would be like around 3 weeks since the hurricane hit us. So you need to be really patient. But most of the people in Puerto Rico, fortunately, they're fine. So patience to all of Puerto Ricans that are waiting for some news inside the United States. The main message is that the government of Puerto Rico right now is telling that everything is getting back to normal, and it's really way far away from that. That may be a well-perceptive illusion inside the Puerto Rico metropolitan area, which is about 6 municipalities of around 78 that are total around the island. So the problem here is that many of the remainder 72 municipalities around the island, around all of the areas of the island, outside the metropolitan area, are struggling hard. Gas stations on the remaining 72 municipalities are just dispensing from $10 to $20 in gasoline. And besides that, when you go to the metropolitan area, you can fill up your tank. So there's an unfair distribution of gasoline inside around the metropolitan area and the remainder 72 municipalities. They will tell you that most of the people live inside the metropolitan area. We could understand that, and I'm not against the fact that Centro Médico, the main medical center in the island, has and needs to have the electrical service. But what I'm telling you is, in the case of gasoline, in which you could go to Carolina, you could go to San Juan, and you can fill up your tank. But in the case of the island, you can fill up for $10 to $20 and then go to the other day, the day after, and you have to fill up another $10 or $20 in a 6-hour waiting line. So it's really unfair. There's a lot of really old people doing this too, and it's really unfair how things are being distributed inside the island. Right now, what we're having right here, as the government is saying that we are slowly stepping into what is now the new normal. But he's lying, and the newspaper El Vocero is also lying with the fact that it's starting that the water and electrical services are starting to get back up. The real reality between professionals in the electricity industry has been that it will be from 8 to 9 months. Right now, I'm in the municipality of Humacao, which has only one hospital operating at around 50%. Because some of the structure of the hospital fell down. We used to have one public clinic, another private clinic, and 3 hospitals. From all of that, we only have one hospital operating right now. The other hospitals are making their efforts to get back on track, and we know that as well, but that's our reality. And the thing is that these hospitals provide service for many of the municipalities around Puerto Rico. That's an example: Yabucoa, Las Piedras, Nahuabo. They get services from here. So we need that's another reality that the government is not telling right now. And I know there has been an effort. There has been a report of police officers who fill up their patrol cars, and they also fill up these containers for gasoline, and they fill up their trunks. and they can fill up. But the rest of the people in the 72 municipalities cannot. And I repeat, cannot. We're limited to $10 to $20 in gasoline because of the horrible logistics of the government. Because the truck drivers who are hired to deliver this product has been exploited since the whole emergency started. They have been providing for the government, and it's all something that is really logical, and I understand that part. But the thing is that they have been exploited in a way that they cannot operate really well, in the way that they're human beings. They're tired. They have been exploited day and night so they can deliver this product. The logistics that the government are really horrible, and they're making the rest of the island suffer even more. So I'm telling you this message because you need to open your eyes, people. And this is not some political bullshit or something like that. It's the fact of what we're living outside the metropolitan area. That's what we're living right now. We have been forgotten, and not only forgotten, all of the services in our faces have been taken away from us. Telecommunications. The people inside the metropolitan area are abusing the use of internet and telecommunications as well. So what they're doing right now, is that they're saturating the whole web. The whole network has been saturated. And let me give you an example. Companies like T-Mobile, Sprint are working inside the metropolitan area. But those companies, do not, and even AT&T, does not work outside the metropolitan area. We only have, the only operating carrier is Claro. So we're getting that straight. The thing is that there has been so much network saturation inside the metropolitan area that the rest of the island hasn't been able to communicate with relatives around the United States. The other relevant fact is that we have people in the United States trying to get contact with people who live in the municipalities outside the metropolitan area who haven't been able to reach their loved ones. And these people, I've even heard of people that has had heart attacks in the United States, Puerto Ricans trying to reach for their families because some people in the metropolitan area think that they have a priority over the rest of the island. So what I'm doing is that if you have relatives that live inside the 72 municipalities and they're struggling a lot, and you can bring them with you to the United States, do so. This has been for decades. The abuse is immense for decades. This is not from Hurricane Maria. And this is not a partisan thing, because it has been a bipartisan, the whole priority. Even I would say tripartisan priority to the rest of the to the metropolitan area, and let the people of the island, let it sort it out for themselves. And it's really abusive. They have a transportation system in the metropolitan area before Hurricane Maria that costed 3 times what it earned. And the people in these 72 municipalities were taken away from the privilege of having public transportation, which was a better, massive public transportation, or even if it was private. We don't have any kind of transportation. I live in Macau. I need to get to San Juan. If I don't get a ride, I'm screwed. And that's the reality, because it's been for decades, and now with this emergency, it's getting even worse. So what I'm telling to the people of the reminder, 72 municipalities, is that if you're a relative who have a person in the 72 municipalities that are not inside the metropolitan area, take your relative to the United States. Because the people who will live in the 72 municipalities, we're going to suffer way more for the privilege of another bunch of people. So it's not fair. And what I'm urging is that people, if you can get away from here, if you're doing fine and your business can get up and you can still live here, that's good for you. But most of the people in example, in Macau, we have a 15.4% unemployment rate. You can add to that a 5% of people who are not registered as unemployed. We have around 20% unemployment in Humacao. Humacao has around 9,600 people who before the emergency of Hurricane Maria didn't know if they were going to eat the next day or that day because they don't have the means. And what I'm urging most of those people, not only in Humacao, so all the places, is that as soon as you can, and I will say as soon as you can leave the island, leave it. Because it's not fair that we had to struggle and suffer for the privilege of other Puerto Ricans who are not willing to help, who are not willing to quit their privilege so we could build back the country together. And since we cannot build back Puerto Rico together, I say that the people in the 72 municipalities doesn't have to suffer. Because the people in 6 municipalities do not want to quit their use of the internet. Because the people of 6 municipalities do not want to quit having privilege that run over of the people that live in the other 72 municipalities. So I urge you, and I tell you straight up, most of us are fine. The government of Puerto Rico is lying about the fact that we're getting back on track. The metropolitan area perhaps is, but there are 72 municipalities who are stuck as the day after Hurricane Maria. And that's not fair. And the people of the world need to know that Puerto Rico is not only the metropolitan area, it has 78 municipalities in total, it's not only 6. So I urge you, help your relatives, help your family, people who are in the United States. I know you're desperate to come here. Please, you're more helpful being out there than being here. If you come here, you're going to be passing 3-hour waiting lines to get perhaps a sandwich and a coffee. 6 hours to get gasoline. So that's what I have to say for that. I want you to all people take care. Bless you.